各位观众，欢迎收看今天的这一集的谁来尬聊。今天谁来尬聊呢？那当然是我们今天请到一个非常特别从乌克兰的来宾 Oleksandr Lavrynenko。然后他其实呢 he is a director, right?
Yes.
Of international partnership. He's also a professor at a seminary that's in Ukraine. So Mr. Oleksandr, it's such a privilege and an honor for you to be here on our show today. Want to greet everybody?
Yes, hello everyone. Thank you for having me here.
Yeah, so hey, I think it's very rare for us to have somebody who is not from here and who doesn't speak Chinese. So I think you're our first guest to be able to be on. You're the first guest that's on our show to not speak Chinese.
Yeah, I don't speak Chinese, but I can say ni hao.
Oh, that's great.
That's all I can say.
Now, I know you were born and raised. You lived your life in Ukraine. You were just here in the States for a couple of days. So I want to thank you again for being able to come on our show and just to speak to our audience here.
My privilege. Thank you for having me here again.
Yeah. So I know. I think today what I really want to kind of talk about is you've been in Ukraine. Ukraine's been in this war for the past 3 years. From the previous presidential administration, there's been a lot of assistance, a lot of help. Now, with this new administration, I know I'm kind of going straight forward, but with this new administration, we've seen that the past couple of weeks, things that happened between Trump and Zelensky, and seems like the assistance kind of paused or stopped. How has that affected what you guys do? Now I know you do a lot of assistant work in Ukraine, especially in the city of Kyiv. You help a lot of displaced refugees. Your seminary provides hot meals and help for just a lot of these people. And I know when we were talking earlier, you said that the seminary actually cooks maybe more than 1,000 meals a month to serve to these other displaced people, to these refugees. Now, with this new administration, has it affected your work in Ukraine any way at all?
Well, I can say that the situation is still developing and we don't know for sure where it will take us in the near future or long-term future. So maybe it's a bit early to make conclusions, of course, but for example, one of our partners in the States, they just said that they would pause for some time. Yeah, so it might affect our ministry in a way, but we trust the Lord and we'll continue doing whatever we can to relieve the suffering of our fellow citizens, definitely.
So with the situation that's developing, what do you think is going to be primarily affected by the works that you're doing?
To go beyond our ministry of many churches, because I want to believe that those partnerships and help and support will be preserved, definitely at this level. But going beyond this to some programs such as US aid, I know that funds were allocated to different projects such as rebuilding Ukraine, restoring things, power grid, helping amputees. We have the largest number of amputees for obvious reasons. And to help them get their prosthetics, and different things which are good and which are really nice and must be. So I know that financing has been cut for all those things.
Oh, okay. So a lot of medical aids, a lot of infrastructure, all these funds, right now it's been paused in the city of Ukraine. So now with all these being paused, what happened to the workers? They just stop working, or they're just because there's no fund coming in?
As far as workers in Ukraine, I don't mean churches or Christian organizations in general. Yes, some of them have lost their maybe jobs, some of them paused, but I know some people, some lawyers, for example, who continue without support voluntarily, for example, investigating into war crimes without any money, just that's their initiative because that's their responsibility. So it depends.
Now, do you feel like since this war in Ukraine has been going on for 3 years, I'm sure everybody is tired of it?
To say everybody is tired, it means to say nothing. We all want this war to end, but there's another question: at what cost? And right now, again, there is Christian perspective, and we trust the Lord no matter what. But going back to the question, what the Ukrainian people feel, that's different because, as I mentioned earlier, it's not just about land. It's not even about the right to speak our own language or have our own culture. It's existential. It's about our existence. Because somebody does not want us to exist altogether. And all those geopolitical games and geopolitical influence that, of course, makes many, many people suffer.
Now, being a minister in Ukraine, how has faith and politics played, in Ukraine?
I grew up in the Soviet Union, and in the Soviet Union, as you know, Christians were mostly underground, had no impact on social life and prosecuted often. And I remember that very well. That's true. But then in the 90s, the situation changed, and there were many opportunities, freedom came. And many Christians, they were so used to living somewhere, underground, that it was really difficult for them to switch and to start using those opportunities provided by freedom. Of course, new generation arose and they were very active socially and everything. As far as today, Ukraine enjoys religious freedom, unlike occupied territories where pastors are prosecuted, Christians are killed. I mean, if you're not Russian Orthodox, you're persecuted. That's 100%. We enjoy religious freedom, and government is very open, especially considering the role that evangelical Protestant churches in general in relief ministry and everything. So it's a good opportunity to make the gospel public and just to be and like this, yeah.
Now, with the war that's been going on, do the churches still meet every week?
It depends on what area this is, but yes, churches meet, try to meet. Yes, many people have migrated or moved or immigrated, but internally displaced came and filled in. So it's been kind of a rotation, but churches continue their ministry, continue meeting, gathering. Yes.
Do you see a lot of new faces in churches every week?
Yes.
Really? Okay. Now, these are all people, different parts of Ukraine that will come over, or?
Yes, mixed. And churches are very active, helping population in Ukraine. And there are so many stories, how people came to know the Lord because someone helped them and they saw the love of Jesus revealed to them. I remember the story, my colleague, his name is Oleg, at the beginning of the full-scale invasion, our seminary team evacuated people from the war zone. Mm-hmm. And once they went to a place which was so close to the front line that nobody wanted to go there. And there was a elderly man, paralyzed there.
From the war?
No, he was just paralyzed, but his village was very close to the front line and the fighting was nearby. So our team, they took a risk. They went there and they took him to a rear area. And my colleague, he was holding his hand all the way, just making sure he was still alive, and they made it, and that life was saved, and that was a good testimony for many people.
Now, I know you being there, living the daily life, breathing, seeing everything that's happening. I'm sure you've had families, friends, colleagues who were just their lives were taken away by the war.
Yes, that's right. Even in my church, we have people who got killed and people I knew. And again, I mentioned it in our conversation earlier. My friend Anton, for example, my friend Mikhailo, we served together at Sunday school camps many times, serving children. We went together, planned together, did many things together. And now, they killed. And when you know someone, it really hurts. It's when you're
really
emotionally
close.
involved and it's close. Yes.
Now, seeing all these devastation, has it changed your faith or your belief in God?
You know what? I would not say that it has changed my theology, because I knew that we live in a fallen, broken world with much evil going on. But it was, something detached from you, and I knew God is sovereign, and history of this world, it's about wars and everything.
Right.
But I would say that my theology became more practical, more applicable, if I can say it this way, and more incarnational. I mean, of course, you ask questions. God, where are you amid all this suffering? Why? Well, we've been praying so much. All churches, all believers praying. Stop this. Just let it stop. Just peace and everything. But later you come to this conclusion, okay, this is the question that God can ask you. Where are you amid the suffering? What you are doing to help people, to show my love? So I would say it's reshaped maybe in this way.
Right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm sure as a minister, maybe it's I don't want to say easier, but because you study the Word of God and you know you got to put your trust in God. But for a lot of the other people, they have families, close relatives, deceased. They're also praying for God to stop this war. But day after day, 3 years is a very, very long time. It's not a week or two. Now, what about the faith of all these other people? Do they come to you and say, Pastor, I'm doubting God. I don't believe in God. He hasn't heard my prayer. And not only so, he's taken my children away. He's taking my husband away, my wife away. What do you say to those people?
It's different with different people. Of course, as you say, there are those who get angry with God. They don't understand why he, as they stated, allowed this to happen, of course. But there are many other people who seek counseling, who seek support, who come and seek God even amid this suffering, trying to get hope. That's why, as I said, we train ministers, we train and equip pastors, missionaries, army chaplains, counselors, and Ukraine, without exaggeration, today is in need of these ministers more than ever before. And we understand how important this is.
So right now, your seminary is actually playing a very important role in these times to raise up even more ministers, to raise up even more counselors, to be able to help counsel these people through grief, through devastation. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.
Now, as I know you are the leader of the International Partnership Development, you're the coordinator. Now, for those in the Asian American community, how can we help to address the challenges that you're talking about, all these things?
There are several ways, of course, and every Christian, he can pray for his brothers and sisters, especially those in suffering. And we understand how important this is. Second, people can become advocates of Ukraine by just saying true things about Ukraine, because recently we've heard many things which have nothing to do with reality. They are not true about Ukraine, and Ukraine is a victim in this particular situation, of course. Yes, and we've been suffering from this unprovoked aggression. Yeah, and of course, churches in Ukraine and our seminary in particular, we need resources to continue our ministry, relief ministry, and educational ministry. Yes, to spread, to expand God's kingdom here on this earth.
Now, because I'm sure a lot of people who are watching this, they would say, hey, yeah, I want to be able to give. I want to be able to help the church, the believers in Ukraine. Now, what's a good way for them to reach out? To reach out to your seminary or to your organization or?
Yes, we can be reached out directly. We have our website and there are ways there. But it's also possible to do it through the Global Life Enrichment Center, located here, headquarters here in LA area. They've been partnering with us since the beginning of the full-scale invasion. Yes, supporting some faculty and providing for hot meals. Yeah, so we appreciate this partnership a lot.
Now, I know hope is an important thing. What helps you to get through your day-to-day life?
There are several things. For us Christians, of course, that's understanding who God is, what world we live in, this broken, fallen world with evil and everything. But there are some things we know for sure, that God will bring everyone to justice. If not here in this life on this earth, everyone will stand before Him and will answer for all crimes, war crimes, all terrible things. We understand He is sovereign. He is the King. Yes, and He is the one to be trusted. And He is with us. He helps us, supports us. That's what we believe.
Yeah, same here. So, wait, Mr. Oleksandr, I want to thank you so much for coming on to this show. We really pray that the war would end quickly. We really pray for the peace to come upon Ukraine, upon your people. And I know that we will be praying for you and with you through this.
Thank you so much for inviting me. Thank you, everyone, for watching. I really take it as God's grace to me and my country. This opportunity is so appreciated. Thank you so much.
所以我们今天有听到，如果你想要支持，如果你有心有感动想要支持乌克兰的这些百姓的话呢，我们在下面会放个连结，你可以跟他们联络，来知道怎么样把所需要的东西带到他们那边去。再一次的谢谢你们收看今天这一集的谁来尬聊。那今天这一集的谁来尬聊是非常特别的，我们真的是 touch 到这个社会现在真的很重要的议题。如果你喜欢这一集的话呢，邀请你可以把这一集转发给你的亲朋好友，然后也在这边邀请你可以留言、订阅、按赞、开启小铃铛，继续关注我们这个谁来尬聊的节目。下次见 ，Say bye，
Bye.
See you next time.